Welcome back, crafty friends. It's Alicia of the Call Me Crafty Al YouTube channel, and I am back today with a quick and easy card. Very recently, I have been pinning lots of cards that they say are Eclipse cards on Pinterest. Now, I created a card similar to this. It was probably one of the very first Oso inspireds that we did, and I think at that time I called it like an inlay die cut card. But I've been seeing these Eclipse cards pop up a lot lately, and I will show you what I'm talking about. I'll insert some pictures now. What I'll do below is link my Pinterest board if you want to go see more Eclipse cards, or if you want to find out where the ones I shared with you come from, the source of them. I love the look of the stamped and colored card front, but you know, I'm not really one lately for stamping and coloring. So I thought, how could I get that same effect but with a pattern paper? Now, if you've bought many of the Hot by Paper pads, for me, there are some pages that I really can't use. They are more for scrapbooking. Let me show you an example. Okay, this one right here. It just has those decorations in the corners, which for me, if I cut it up to make like quick and easy cards like I usually do, I would have a lot of pieces that were just this bluish color, and they wouldn't maybe match the rest of the cards that I had done. So what I thought I would try is to use the corners from this paper to create an Eclipse card, and then part of my letters will be die cut from that area where the image is. So what I want to do first is get an idea of where the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 would kind of land if I cut it straight from the corner. So what I'm going to do is get a piece of clear cardstock and cut it to the size of a card front. Now, if you don't have clear cardstock, you could just eyeball this, you know, just maybe cut a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch paper and see where it lands over the image, but I just like to do this so I can see exactly where it would be. So I'm not sure if you can see that on camera, but this would be the area on my card front. So I want to know where to cut my paper, so that is the image that I get on there. I have my clear cardstock in about 1/4 inch from the bottom and the right. So real quickly, I'm going to go ahead and just cut this piece of paper in half to make it smaller, because I don't want to cut it and ruin this yet, because I can do another Eclipse card with this. And then I'll cut it to 6 again in case I want to use this for just pattern paper or scraps, or for a scrap card later. Now that I have my 6 by 6, I'm going to cut 1/4 off, like I said, the bottom and the right. And now I will cut this to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is the front of a card. For my die cut letters, I will be using the Memory Box Company's large classic alpha, upper and lower. Actually, I think I'll just use the upper, since I'm just going to do a short word. I'm just going to do hi. I was thinking about doing hello, but I'm afraid it will not fit on the card front. So I want to kind of figure out where in here I want my letters to go. I want them to be a little bit in the blue area and then some in the image. Once I have them set where I want them, I'm going to use my Scotch removable tape to just tack these down, and so I can do my die cutting and the letters won't shift. I do want to make sure that the letters are on there straight, so I'm going to get out my ruler. just tack those down. And this tape will pull right off and it doesn't pick up any of the pattern from the paper. So I have my word die cut out of there, and you have to hold on to the letters that you cut. So I'll set those to the side. And now I need to figure out what color cardstock I need to make my Eclipse with. I think I'm going to go with Craft. I think that's going to go nicely with the pattern paper. I'm going to just pull in some scraps of Craft cardstock, and then I'm going to cut 5 copies of each letter from Craft. The next part of making the Eclipse card is to pile up the letters on top of each other and glue them together. I am guessing this is probably going to be the most time-consuming part of it all. So I will speed up the video and then I'll come back when everything is dry and I am ready to complete the card. For my adhesive, I am using Adhesive Tech a fine line, and I got this I think at Tuesday Morning. It was super cheap there and I just like the fine point. Now I have seen some other crafters with a really fine point, but for me this works what I need it for. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the front of my eye and then stack one right on top of that. The good thing with the wet glue is that you have a little wiggle room to play with it to get them lined up exactly, or as close to exact as you can. And lastly, I will put the pattern piece on top of the Craft cardstock pieces. I'm going to set this under a stamp block to dry, and I will do the same exact thing with the H. Before I come back with how I put the card together, I quickly thought I would put the H in the opening to see how it looked, and I think I need one more layer of Craft cardstock to help with the difference between the card front and the patterned H. So I'm going to cut one more copy of each, the H and the I, in Craft cardstock. I gave my stack of letters 20 minutes to dry, and I'm sure that was more than I needed, but I wanted to make sure they were ready to go for this. In the meantime, I made a Craft card base for this. So what I'm going to do is adhere my pattern piece of paper down to that. I'm going to do adhesive around the outside edges. I'm going to do a box around the word. I just want to make sure that stays down nicely. And then these inner pieces, I'm going to put some on there as well, so they stay stuck to the front and don't lift up above the letters. And now I am going to use the same adhesive to put my letters on my card front. And the card front is done. So I have almost the same effect as if I stamped the card front and did coloring before I made my Eclipse letters, but I used a piece of pattern paper from a pad that I probably would have never used. I had mentioned before that I had this piece left, so what I thought I would do was decorate the inside a little bit. If you enjoyed my video today and think that you might make a pattern paper eclipse card of your own, I hope you'll give this video a thumbs up. If this is your first time to my channel and you liked what you saw, I hope that you'll consider hitting subscribe and then the little bell for notifications. To my regular viewers and subscribers, thanks again for stopping back by. Until my next video, I hope you're all having a crafty day. Bye-bye.